Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my heavy armor stamina Dragonknight PvP build Draugr. You will find additional information on my website. I will put the link into the description, so make sure to go check it out. In the first part of the video I want to talk about the basics and how to manage your resources with this build because it's kind of special. And in the second part I will show you off some combinations and also how strong the resource management is with this build. Now to give you a general idea at what stats you're looking like, we basically have 11k magicka depending on what food you use, 25k health, 48k stamina, 2.6k weapon damage. This gets higher because of heavy armor passives, we'll show in a second. And the recovery here is pretty low, but it doesn't matter because we have tons of other ways to manage our resources. Now I want to get to explain this now because otherwise people will probably not understand why this is not bad at all to have such low recovery. First off, we're using a tower Mundus stone to give us max stamina. That's why we have so much stamina. Why does this help? So red guard, 3% of your max stamina every time I do a melee attack. Has a 5-second cooldown. That's a lot, okay. Then we have battle roar. Every time you use an ultimate, like you see, each ulti point gives us 46 health, 18 magicka and 84 stamina. Make this times 100 and you're good to go. That's so much, it's completely insane. Helping hands, every time we cast the Arthur Heart ability we restore 5% stamina. So every time using Nail Shield. That's also a lot. So basically what I'm trying to say is when we do a heavy attack and use this afterwards, we regain like 6k stamina. Now what else does contribute to this? Rapid Mending increases the magicka or stamina your heavy attacks restored by 25%. That's a lot. Constitution. Every 4 seconds we restore 1.3k magicka and stamina. That's fucking broken. It's because we also use Black Rose. On top of that, Tenacity. We regain 12% more resource from our heavy attacks. Now those are basically the main ways to restore stamina for this build. If you're a solo player, obviously if you play in a group, blazing like shards, spear shards and that stuff also helps. Now, let's get to the build. I said this already. If you play in a small group you can use this here, max health and max stamina, because you don't really need more magicka. If you play alone, I do recommend using the tri-stat food because you want the extra magicka to use your utility skills more. Potions, mainly using those here, CC immunity, speed buff and stamina. And those here, CC immunity, health and stamina. I will put the ingredients on my website so you can, if you don't know how to craft those, go check it out. Why do I like the speed buff ones? Because it's perma speed buff forever. It doesn't drop like the skill from speed buff, so it's like, this is beautiful. Next thing, gear. So we are using 5 pieces Black Rose. Now this set is really strong still. They changed, like it used to give 2 stam bonus, now it gives only 1, but it gives a magicka bonus as well, so that's not even bad. And the Constitution passive returns 35% more damage and we get weapon damage, so it's just really strong altogether, especially for a Dragonknight. 5 pieces Draugr Hulk, so we have 3 jewelry, all weapon damage. It's just, it gives us back so much stamina, it's insane. Make sure to get everything in impenetrable if possible. I simply didn't have all pieces available in impenetrable. Tremor scale, another stamina bonus. Then it doesn't crit anymore, it still does a lot of damage, and 70% snares. That's actually the main reason why we use it, because it's just so annoying to be permanently fucking snared. That's why people call it Elder Snares Online. It's just enemy can't get away from your attacks and you will rip him at some point. If you want to play this on the non-champions campaign, you should swap out Tremor Scale for Blood Spawn, because you gain ultimate faster, which means Battle Roar will proc faster every time you use ultimate. If you don't like proc sets, you can use another set that gives another stamina bonus to reach even more stamina. Now, very important, those two pieces here are medium, so everything else needs to be heavy. Heavy, 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 and heavy. As you see, we have 3 Brecklos armor pieces and a sword, or a one-handed weapon, and a shield. Now those are not that easy to get, either from the guild store or the Telvar merchant in Cyrodiil. I think it's 3k Telvar per box. You need a sharpened weapon here. Trait on the shield doesn't matter that much. Backbar, two-hander. Now here you can use whatever you want, as long as it's a gold weapon. Because, why do I say that? As you can see, first off, it's not easy to get this weapon. And like, we only lose a Magicka bonus if you don't have a Black Rose two-hander. So if you have already any other weapon golded out two-hander, like Spriggan or Hunting's Rage or whatever, as long as it's sharpened, you can use it. I will have easy to get gear setup on my website if you have trouble getting Black Rose. Poisons drain health poison, simply extra damage, so it's really nice. You could use drain Magicka poisons, which just fucking OP. You also could only use the poison on one bar, and here weapon enchantment, totally up to you. Champion points. 95 Warlord, 65 Tenacity. Very important, do not put points into Mooncalf, because our stamina recovery is useless. That's why we want Tenacity. Tumbling 40 to reduce roll dodge and break free cost. 35 in Blessed. Now this is very important because we get 12% extra healing, which is nice, which synergizes well with Major Mending, another 25%. Shattering Blows increases damage against shielded enemies, 10%, and also we get this. Every time, like when we block, we have a 15% chance to return 4.6k damage to the enemy. So it's just really nice damage and free. 40 Piercing and 95 Mighty. 10 in Resistant, 50 Thick Skinned, because there is so many dots that enemies put on us, so I really recommend having so much there. Hardy 60 and Elemental Defender 60. And 20 in the Quick Recovery to boost our healing even further. You can play around with those CPs if you want to. I just prefer it like this. Skills. So we went already over the resource management part, I guess. Now, Venomous Claw, this is one of the strongest and cheapest dots in the game. Use it. Make sure to have it on the enemy all times. Reverberating Bash puts Major Defile on the enemy, reducing their healing received by 30%, and on top of that it stuns them. It's a really annoying stun, like you basically don't see it coming. Pierce Armor, nice damage, also puts Major Fracture on the enemy, reducing their physical resistance by 5.3k. We also use this because of Tremor Scale, because it procs the Dune Ripper or the set. Now if you want to be a funny troll, you also can use Inner Fire. It does no damage, but it's 48 meters range and it procs the Tremor Scale set. Now it's just to troll, use this. Ignore Shield, 25% extra healing when we activate this. It's just really nice. You see it went from 17k to 21k. That's how much this is. Now, it also gives a small shield, 3.7k. You think, oh, this is not a lot, so it's useless. It's not useless. Why? If you have a shield, the enemy cannot do a critical strike on you. So no matter how small the shield is, the next hit will always be a non-critical hit. Resolving Vigor, our main heal, that you have to keep up you have to use this every 5 seconds. That's why most people die, because they don't keep up their heals. Spell Wall, now this ultimate is very underrated, it's so fucking broken. 7 seconds perma block without you actually having to block. You can keep using your skills and you will rechain stamina and all that stuff. It's just very strong, and it's so cheap, 100 ultimate. Two-hander bar, rally, another heal, especially as a burst heal, the longer it lasts. Like if you activate it at 10 seconds, you will get a huge heal. Critical rush, gap closer, reverse slice, our execute. I prefer this over executioner simply because the enemy usually dies anyway, no matter if you do 300 or 400% more execute damage, because he's dead. And I like the splash damage from this, which is a lot. See, other enemies nearby take 81 fucking % of the damage. It's just stupid. Molten armaments. Heavy attacks with this build are actually pretty strong because of molten armaments. It's just so 40% more damage, and we also recover resources through heavy attacks, so why not? Shuffle, 15% dodge chance. There's two things you can use, either this or the volatile or the hardened armor here. Now why do I use this over the other one? Because when we activate this, we also get the small shield. The next hit cannot be a critical strike. I do prefer shuffle though, because it's very strong. Basically, shuffle works how it works. When shuffle procs, you dodge for like a small amount of time. Let's say 0.5 seconds. And during those 0.5 seconds, nothing can actually hit you. Except for the stuff that is undodgeable, obviously. Because many people think, oh, it only dodges one skill. That's not true. If 20 Zorks shoot a crystal frag at you in those 0.5 seconds, they will all miss. Dawnbreaker of Smithing is our main AoE stun, and also a nice combo. Heavy attack, Dawnbreaker, execute, goodbye enemy. I'll show you off that in a second. Before we start here, I want to talk about something again. As you can see, like, I do recommend if you play solo, you should use the tricep buff food because the extra magicka is very helpful. Now we are not in zero deal, so my health is lower. If you play in a small group and you don't necessarily need the magicka, you could use the health and stamina food just to get slightly more damage. Then again, I prefer this here. To showcase you how powerful our resource management is actually, because most people don't understand how strong it is. I will showcase you. So basically what I will do now, I will do a heavy attack with Igneous Shield, and look my stamina bar. It went from 48 to 61%. That's how much stamina we get back. Because the red guard passives proc, helping hands passive procs, and the heavy attack. It's just so broken. Let me showcase you again. Let's actually see if we can get the good number on it. 26. So basically with one heavy attack you've got 6k stamina back. And then remember, that's not everything, because heavy armor, constitution, another 1.3k every 4 seconds. And when we actually use the ultimate. Now let me show you what happens when we pop the ultimate. Let me get to like 50%. Now watch what happens when I do a heavy attack into Dawnbreaker. It goes from 60% to like 90%. That's why I say, like, people are scared because we have low recovery, but it doesn't matter because there is so many ways to actually regain resources. Now in terms of combos, what do we need to know? Obviously Venomous Claw needs to be on the enemy at all times. And what I usually do is either light attack, pierce armor, bash. Now this is slow. When I do it fast it looks like this. And you want to bash because it's not a lot of damage, but it's decent. If you're on PC you can unbind like this here. That's what I have. I have block on the mouse button 4 and interrupt on my right mouse click. So you don't need to block and then light attack like it's in the normal setup. That's what you should change, especially if you want to be a PvP hero. Now another thing, if you do this and the enemy is low, you want to make sure to stun him in the right moment with revert bash. Once you use revert bash, you can weapon swap and use reverse slice. So when I do it fast, it looks like this. That's what you need to learn, because animation cancelling is very important. To show you off this a little bit more, like reverse slice, this is the full animation, this is with bash, it's already faster, and this is with weapon swap. You basically don't see the animation at all. Now you really need to practice it. Now, another way to kill off our enemies, especially if you play in a small group, like you want to make sure to heavy attack into a Dawnbreaker and then use your reverse slice. Because Dawnbreaker stuns everybody around you. Reverse slice has execute damage and it has splash damage. So if 2 or 3 people use this on one enemy and he dies, the splash damage on the other enemies around him will be so high they most likely also gonna rip pretty fast. It's another thing. Now that's basically it. Again, resource management is kind of special, but once you get used to it, it will be piss easy to do. If you want to see gameplay of this build or like me PvPing in general, I recommend you making sure to follow me on Twitch. I will put the link in the description. From now on I will actually also announce on YouTube when I start streaming, so you don't miss it. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.